Created to be a samurai, no, to be a warrior he inclined to respect skilled fighters. But those were two different things. A Nazaric defeat would not be forgiven, and this was no happenstance defensive skirmish, it was their first military expedition. Anyone would be displeased if that glorious first battle met with failure. Of course, he'd been given a corps of weaklings. He remembered what Demiurge had said, but that was nothing more than an excuse. Even if his master had considered the possibility of defeat, surely victory was best. Soon enough the throne room was in front of him. The room leading to it, Lemegeton, the lesser key of Solomon, came into view. As he neared it, his feet grew even more leaden. He almost believed it was some kind of magic trap. He hoped his master would reprimand him. It would be his pleasure to wipe away the shame, whether his life was taken or he was ordered to commit suicide. What Cocytus feared most was that his lord would give up on him entirely. If he were to be discarded by the last remaining supreme being, what would he do? Cocytus considered himself a sword, a weapon in his master's hand that cut down everything it was told to. There could not be a fate more horrible than being deemed unnecessary and useless. Not only that, but if the other guardians were forsaken due to his actions, how could he possibly atone? There would be no way to apologize. If it came to that, his death alone would not be enough. What more if their master became disappointed and left this land like the other supreme beings? What would they do? Cocytus shuddered. He had perfect resistance against chill, so naturally his shivers were not from the cold. He was tormented by a mental pressure severe enough to make a human vomit. That would never happen. Lord Aints wouldn't he abandon them? The last supreme one to remain, after all the others had left the tomb. He was their highest ruler and absolute leader. Their lord, so deeply compassionate, would never forsake them. But no matter how much Cocytus comforted himself, persistent voices in the back of his head countered that there was no proof he wouldn't. Cocytus arrived at Lemegeton. Normally, there wasn't anyone in this room besides the golems and crystal monsters, but today there were many. 4 guardians, Demiurge, Aura, Mare, Sholtia, and several elite minions they had selected to accompany them were present. Their gazes gathered on Cocytus. For a moment, out of guilt, his expression registered distress. He felt like they were blaming him for the loss. No, thought Cocytus, maybe they were right. His thoughts from before crossed his mind again. They might all think that way. When he looked at them, he could feel the wordless reproach in their eyes. Sorry I am late. Even Demiurge managed to get here on time, and he was outside. No, don't worry about it, Demiurge answered as the group's representative. It was his usual voice. Cocytus couldn't sense any negativity in it. But Demiurge was an ingenious guardian. He had excellent control over his emotions, and he had a talent for hiding his true feelings. Cocytus couldn't tell if he was displeased or not. In that sense, one could say the Demiurge who had been watching the previous battle between Aints and Sholtia was a rare form for him. Of course, his distress was also a sign of his loyalty. Anyhow, I told the others, but I'll be standing in for Albedo as guardian representative today. Any objections? No, I have no problems with you representing US. Albedo was standing in for Sebas as their master's assistant, so she wasn't present. Good. We were waiting for one more, and then we enter the throne room. But first, considering Albedo's absence, we have a meeting regarding how to line up for our audience. Really, we should rehearse, but there's no time, so we omit that and proceed with only spoken explanation. Listen closely. Each guardian and minion acknowledged Demiurge, including Cocytus. He did wonder whom they were waiting for, though, since everyone seemed to already be there. His uncertainty vanished in a moment as he detected a single presence headed in their direction. When he turned toward it, he saw a grotesque being floating toward Lemegeton. It looked like a fetus. Perhaps an embryo was more accurate. It had a wriggly little tail, and its body was awfully bright pink. Over its head was an angel's halo, and from its back grew shriveled featherless wings. Its whole body measured about 3 feet across as it made its way over. What's that? Aura asked. Demiurge answered. It's the guardian of the 8th level victim. It is, Sholtia chimed in. Victim arrived at Lemegeton and spun around. Cocytus understood that it was taking in the area. Victim didn't have a neck, so it needed to move its entire body to look around. Aster lime clay ash, teal orange violet grape orange eggshell, grey jonquil orange ivory, cinnabar scarlet flesh eggshell scarlet purple eggshell crimson. How do you do everyone? I am Victim. Unfazed by the strange language, Demiurge replied as representative of the group. Good of you to come, victim. My name is Demiurge, and I will be standing in for Albedo as representative. Fuchsia, scarlet, ash, crimson, clay, grape, ebony, cream, chestnut, silk, silk, orange, eggshell, chestnut, cream, grape, crimson. I heard from Lord Aints. Then it turned its body around to look at everyone. Aster, lime, clay, grape, evergreen, chestnut, lime, grape, madder, thistle, chestnut, silk, silk, orange, eggshell, chestnut, cream, grape, crimson, evergreen, eggshell, orange, ebony, cinnabar, ivory, scarlet, teal, madder, ash, cream, ebony, clay, brown, eggshell, scarlet, jonquil, jonquil, silk, grape, crimson. I've also heard all your names, so introductions 1T be necessary. I see. Well, we're all here now, so first I'll tell you how to line up. Everyone listened to Demiurge's explanation in earnest. They were about to have an audience with the leader of the supreme beings inside the heart of the great tomb of Nazareth. If there were any mistakes, the only way to apologize was probably with their lives. After Demiurge had said what he needed to, he waited just enough time for everyone to digest it, and then led the guardians and minions into the throne room. Entering this space, which he had visited only a handful of times, caused joy to well up in Cocytus's heart. Its magnificent construction, the flags representing each of the supreme beings, the world item all the way in the back, it was a room worthy of being the heart of Nazareth. He was so enthralled he forgot for a moment the flames slowly roasting his heart. The guardians left the minions behind partway and lined up at the foot of the stairs leading to the throne. After that, they saluted the Aints Ulgaun Guild crest against the wall to express their adoration and loyalty. Then they dropped to one knee, bowed their heads, and waited until their master arrived. Before long, along with the solemn sound of the opening door, came a pair of footsteps. They knew without even turning around that it was decidedly not their master. It was unthinkable that the master of the great tomb of Nazareth would appear unaccompanied. The highest ruler of the great tomb of Nazareth, Lord Aints Ulgaun, and captain of the floor guardians, Mistress Albedo. The voice belonged to one of the Pleiades, Uri Alpha. The door sounded again, along with the frigid clack of boots on the floor and the tapping of a staff, followed a little later by the sound of high heels. It was normal to show respect when one's master entered the room, but no one gathered here did anything. Why? Because they were already showing all the respect possible. Only Cocytus did something different. A thought occupied his mind, and it expressed itself as movement. It was a tiny motion, but it disrupted the atmosphere in a huge way. He detected the other guardians focusing on him with skill. Albedo radiated a rage as she walked behind their master, but she failed to suppress it despite her best efforts. However, as could be expected in this situation, no one uttered a word. The footsteps moved slowly past the line of guardians and up the stairs. Someone sat on the throne, and Albedo's voice rang out. Raise your heads and bask in the authority of Lord Aints Ulgaun. Then came the shuffling of everyone moving at once to attend to their master seated on the throne. Cocytus also raised his head immediately. Gripping the staff that proved he was ruler of the land, enveloped in a horrifying aura, with a black halo behind his head, this was the highest ruler of the great tomb of Nazareth, Aints Ulgaun. Standing in front of him, Albedo observed each of the guardians below, including Cocytus, and nodded in satisfaction before turning to Aints. The floor guardians of the great tomb of Nazareth bow before you, O Supreme One. Your wish is our command, he uttered a dignified man struck the floor hard with his staff. All eyes gathered on him. He slowly opened his mouth to speak. How good of you to gather before me, floor guardians. First, a word of thanks. Demiurge, my lord, allow me to thank you for your unceasing efforts. I am grateful for your loyalty. Oh, what are you saying, Lord Aints? I am your servant. It is only natural that I should come when you call. Your thanks are too precious to bestow upon me. Demiurge bowed his head low, his face trembling with delight. I see. And do you have any evidence of suspicious scum showing up around here? None, my lord. We are taking ample precautions and should be able to discover them easily should they approach. I guess that's all we can do. But don't neglect the watch. They may employ methods we haven't considered. And about the skins, you brought the head librarian has concluded that they can withstand being made into low-level scrolls. Is it possible to secure a reliable supply of them? Yes, that will be no problem. We have captured a sufficient number. Aha. And what was the name of the beast you were using? Beast. Oh, they are the ones you mentioned. Lord Aints Demiurge was vague for a moment, and then answered, the bipedal sheep of the sacred kingdom. How about we call them Abelian sheep? Cocytus wondered at Demiurge's tone. He seemed to be having an awful lot of fun. In general, Demiurge was good-natured and nice to everyone, but that kindness extended only to those created by the supreme beings. To anyone else, he was extremely cruel. Glimpses of brutality were visible beneath his high spirits. The dark malice was surely directed at the beasts he was talking about, but would Demiurge really hold such an attitude toward beings of lesser intelligence? Considering his personality, Cocytus found it a bit strange, but this wasn't the time or place to ask about it. I see sheep. Their master smiled faintly, and drawn by his words, Albedo and Demiurge followed suit. Goats might be better, but that's fine. Then please skin those sheep. Is there any possibility of ecosystem issues due to overhunting? I don't believe so. Since we use healing magic, we can skin them right away. Unless we mass producing them, there's no need to gather a large number. This is thanks to those exceedingly brilliant monsters, the tortures. Don't the severed parts disappear if you cast healing magic? About that we learned something during our healing experiments. If the severed part changes dramatically from its original state before the healing magic is cast, say, it gets minced, then it will remain unaffected by magic. In other words, if we remove the skin and begin processing, it seems to count as a separate entity and will not disappear even if we cast healing magic. Apparently this is also the reason the sheep don't die if we feed them their own harvested meat. As an aside, it seems that if the healer or healee refuses the healing, the magic doesn't work as well, and the wound remains. It also depends on the tier of the spell used and the amount of time that passes before casting. I see it goes to show how great the power of magic is good. Then continue as you were. Yes, sir. From now on, we'll separate the skins by sex and age when we send them, so please let me know what age produces the best quality. I think I'll leave that up to the librarian. Next, victim, teal scarlet, fuchsia scarlet, ash crimson, clay grape. Yes, Lord Aints. I've called you for the reason you were thinking. Something unimaginable has happened, and we need to use your skill to protect the guardians and me as well. Sorry. I'll resurrect you right away, so I hope you'll forgive me. Eggshell, aster, cinnabar, porcelain, peach, crimson, thistle, scarlet, osher, eggshell, chestnut, cream, grape, orange, jonquil, ivory, chestnut, silk, grass, clay, opal, crimson, grass, fuchsia, scarlet, ash, crimson, clay, grape. Gray, jonquil, orange, thistle, fuchsia, scarlet, ash, crimson, clay, grape, evergreen, orange, thistle, indigo. Umber, opal, grass, orange, seaweed, jonquil, violet, grass, cinnabar, aster, jonquil, clay, opal, jonquil, evergreen, eggshell, crimson. Umber, evergreen, yellow, ivory, white, eggshell, orange, peach, cinnabar, evergreen, chestnut, ash, ivory, jonquil, evergreen, chestnut, black flesh, grass, jonquil, eggshell, porcelain, evergreen, eggshell, fuchsia, opal, teal, peach, opal, scarlet, orange, ebony, cinnabar, evergreen, ebony, snow, peach, green, teal, fuchsia, cream, grape, brown, ash. Demiurge mentioned that as well. Please don't trouble yourself about it, Lord Aints. I too am your minion, and I was born to die. There is no greater happiness than to be of use to a Supreme One with my power. I see, forgive me. When their master bowed in apology, victim gasped in surprise and wriggled this way and that. Thistle, osher, jonquil, scarlet, lime, scarlet. I am not worthy. There may come a time we need to kill you in order to prevent our enemy's escape. Please accept it. We do not take this action out of hatred. I don't want to hurt you, one of our precious children, but if we leave these unknown enemies alone for too long, things might end up far worse. That was why lime, grass, thistle, chestnut, osher, orange, black, white, lime, scarlet, eggshell, flesh, jonquil, clay, scarlet, fuchsia, scarlet, ash, crimson, clay, grape, chestnut, silk, thistle, yellow, teal, orange, licorice, cinnabar, blue, ash, grass, cream, ivory, scarlet, orange, eggshell, chestnut, cream, grape, crimson. Please say no more, Lord Aints. I understand your feelings quite well. One of the gimmicks in Nazarick uses these words from the gospel, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. They are truly fitting words for you. I thank you for your love. Aints' attention moved from victim, who had assumed a posture of deep devotion, to another guardian. Next, Sholtia, she must not have been expecting to get called. Her shoulders jerked, and her voice was terribly shrill when she answered, "My lord, sir, come to me." He hadn't said anything like this to the other guardians. Startled, she hurriedly got to her feet. Her anxiety was clear from the tension in her back, like a condemned criminal being led to the guillotine, but her spine was straight, reflecting the honor she sought. Upon ascending the stairs, she immediately dropped to one knee a short distance from the throne. Sholtia, regarding the thorn pricking your heart, understanding what he meant immediately, she oozed remorse. "Ah, Lord Aints, I beg you, please discipline me for that shameful affair. Give me punishment befitting the foolish, guilty one who, despite holding the position of guardian, committed such a loathsome act." Sholtia's pained voice echoed throughout the throne room. Cocytus could understand how she felt. No, any guardian, anyone created by the supreme beings could. Even if she had been manipulated, she couldn't forgive herself for acting hostile toward a supreme being. "I see, then come here, Sholtia." Obeying his wave, Sholtia inched toward the throne. A bony hand stretched out and gently pet her hung head. She looked up timidly. Everyone heard her quiet, astonished voice. "Lord Aints, the mistake was mine. We were far too disadvantaged by our opponent having a world item. Sholtia, I love all who serve Nazarick, all whom we created from nothing. That includes you, naturally. Are you precious, blameless Sholtia going to force me to punish you?" His eyes showed he didn't know what to do. Cocytus didn't know what he was looking at. His mouth moved slightly. His master's face was all bone with no lips, so Cocytus couldn't guess what he said. It was probably someone's name. "Ah, Lord Aints, you speak of love." Sholtia's swooning voice rang out. Cocytus couldn't see her face because he was behind her, but her behavior told him all he needed to know. She sounded like she was crying, and her shoulders trembled. He saw their master stroke her face with his other hand. In it he held a white handkerchief. There, Sholtia, don't cry. All your beauty will go to waste, you know." Without a word, she pressed the back of Aints's hand, which had been running through her hair, to her face, probably to her lips. Mare sobbed. And then Aura. Demiurge was also dabbing at his eyes. Cocytus watched his comrades pledge their loyalty once more, jealous of those who could shed even a few tears. Sholtia had feared most that because she wasn't useful, because she had caused trouble, and because she abandoned her oaths, the kind, last remaining supreme being in the land would disown her. But he had obliterated her worries with the word love. How great was her joy! Cocytus stood silently behind her, watching in envy. He had been in the same position as her, no worse. "Okay, Sholtia, you may dismissed Lord Aints." A cold voice cut their master short. Cocytus glared at Albedo, offended by her rude conduct. Something was off. An unidentifiable uneasiness flitted across his mind. Clear rewards and punishment keep all in order. "Perhaps it would be best if you punished her. Albedo, do you have an issue with?" He closed his mouth. Aints must have paused because of something Cocytus didn't understand. But Sholtia settled things with another word. "Lord Aints, I agree with Albedo. Please punish me. It will be a joy to prove my devotion." "Okay, I'll decide later what to do and punish you." You ray dismissed. "Yes, Lord Aints." Her eyes were always red, but now they were bloodshot as well. She descended the stairs and returned to her previous position. There she assumed the most humble posture possible. And then, "Cocytus, Lord Aints has something to say to you. Please listen." The air was tense. The moment had finally arrived. Cocytus bowed his head deeply. His posture, which allowed him to see only the floor, was appropriate for an audience. He remained in it because he lacked the courage to gaze upon his master's face. "I saw the battle with the Lizardmen, Cocytus, my lord. It ended in defeat, didn't it? Sir, my humble apologies for this error." A sharp strike of a staff on the floor cut off Cocytus's apology. Albedo's icy voice vibrated in his ears. "Isn't that rude, Cocytus? If you are going to apologize, raise your head. Do pardon me." He lifted his head to see his master seated on the throne at the top of the stairs. "Cocytus, let us hear from the general of the defeated army. How did it feel to be in command this time instead of fighting on the front lines, my lord? My humble apologies for losing the soldiers you gave me, as well as the Elder Lick commander you created." Oh, I can make any number of those, so it's fine to lose them. Don't worry about that. What I am asking you, Cocytus, is what it was like to lead an army. I'll say this first, I have no intention of blaming you terribly much for this defeat. The atmosphere among the Guardians and the minions behind them was one of bewilderment, excepting Demiurge and Albedo. So the things Demiurge was saying were HRM. Sensing his master was about to continue speaking, he hurriedly shifted his attention. Everyone fails sometimes.